Welcome back to Nerdmania, guys. Happy New Year. Hope everyone had a fantastic holiday, spent plenty of time with family, ate too much, got everything they wanted. We're new into 2023, so I thought I'd start the year with my best movies of 2022. These are my favourite movies. They're going to be different to everybody else's. So if you have a different opinion or there's something you think I've missed, please drop it in the comments below. 2022 was quite a big year for movies, still being affected slightly due to the Rona. The couple of years before, I still don't think box offices are quite back there yet, and a lot of studios are still delaying movies. We saw a few movies delayed that were supposed to be out this year that are now going to be next year. Aquaman, Spider-Man into the across the multiverse, to name a couple. But overall, a solid year. I think there were some really good movies this year. And I'm going to start this by talking about my biggest disappointment of 2022. So, coming into the year, I was really looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor Ragnarok is one of my favourite MCU movies of all time. And the same team coming into this, I was really excited. But it just fell flat for me. I think they tried to go over the top with the comedy and it didn't work for me. It just, I'm solely blaming this on Taika Waititi. Other people might have a different opinion, and the studio. I thought the actors did a really good, solid job. But Thor was, Chris Hemsworth was born to play Thor. I thought he did a really good job. I thought Natalie Portman was really good back as Jane Foster. Teresa Thompson as Valkyrie was excellent. Christian Bale, for me, stole the show as Gore the God Butcher, but the comedy, the whole Russell Crowe cameo just felt completely over the top and unnecessary for me. And I'm not saying it's the worst film of the year. It does have some highlights and some fun points. The interactions at the start with the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor are excellent. I wish we could have seen more of that. But overall, that was the film that I was looking forward to the most coming into 22, and the one that disappointed me the most. Now for a bit of disclaimer, I'm in the UK, so if you're watching this in America, not all films come out here the same time as they come over there. So there may be some films that are missing from my list that I just haven't had the chance to see yet. And then there might be just somewhere I've just been lazy and haven't got around to it yet. A lot of films I'm seeing on people's top 10 lists that I haven't seen yet is Nope. I'm hopefully getting the Blu-ray of that today, so I'll be able to remedy that soon. The Menu, the new Ralph Fiennes movie, haven't seen that yet. And Bones and All is another one that's getting really good reviews, but I just haven't had a chance to see those three movies yet. There's probably more, but those three are the three that are there or thereabouts, that are getting talked about a lot that I haven't had a chance to see yet. Right, so we're about to get into my top 10. Before we get into my top 10, I just wanted to... I've got two honourable mentions. Movies that were just about to make it. So you could say this is my top 12. They just didn't quite make it. Sorry, three movies that didn't quite make it onto my top 10 list. But a disclaimer about my love of movies. My love of movies comes from the big Hollywood blockbusters, the popcorn movies. I love going to the theatre, the cinema, sitting there watching a movie on the big screen. And I love those big showpiece movies. I'm not against the Oscar movies and the arty movies, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the people who talk about those movies and kind of shun the blockbusters. It's completely, movies are subjective. It's completely up to you. I will watch a wider range of movies. I will watch Oscar stuff, indie stuff, but the thing for me is the big blockbusters. They're the thing, they're what got me into movies, and that will show in my top 10 list. As for my three honourable mentions, number one is Barbarian, which is a horror movie, if you haven't seen it, starring Justin Long. I can't remember the actress's name, unfortunately, the main actress, but it's got Justin Long in it, and it's got the guy who plays Pennywise. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's a very good movie, and it subverts where your brain's taking you. You think you know what's going to happen, and then something happens and it doesn't, and then it's got a really interesting twist in it as well. Well worth watching. If you're in the UK, it's available on Disney Plus. It has got some quite gory bits in it, but overall, yeah, Barbarian. It was a good movie. Probably up there as my horror movie of the year. One of my other honourable mentions is Bullet Train. I had real fun with this movie. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this movie as much as I did. Brad Pitt is one of those actors which I never really think about. I wouldn't say he's one of my favourite actors, but everything he does I really enjoy. And Bullet Train is just brilliant. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Quicksilver from the MCU, brilliant in this movie. Yeah, really enjoyed it. So Bullet Train's definitely worth a watch. And my third honourable mention is Glass Onion, the Knives Out mystery, on available on Netflix in the UK now. I believe in everywhere on Netflix now. This was really fun as well. Great whodunit mystery. Really enjoyed Knives Out. Thought this was excellent. Daniel Craig is just excellent as Benoit Blanc, and it has a stellar cast. This movie definitely worth watching, especially if you got Netflix. It's not going to cost you anything. You're not going to have to go to the cinema. Check it out. Dave Bautista is brilliant. Excellent movie. But those three just didn't quite crack my top 10. Two other movies, or I'm not sure if they counted as movies, so it would have made it if they possibly. I count them more as extended TV shows. One is Werewolf by Night, and the other one is the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Brilliant way for the MCU to do these two, and they're both completely different. Werewolf by Night is probably my favourite of the two. Just the styling and the way it's done is excellent. But the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special is fantastic, and both are going to be coming to my rotation for Halloween and Christmas each year. So now we get on to my top 10 movies of the year. Sorry if I keep looking down, I've got some notes in front of me. And like I said, this is my list. These are movies that meant something to me, or tickled me as a fan of movies. And at number 10 is Kevin Smith's Clerks 3. I've been a massive Kevin Smith fan for years. I've had the honour of meeting the gentleman. And this movie just hit all the right notes for me. It's Clerks as a trilogy just works so well. The first movie is obviously the cult classic, the one that started it all for Kevin Smith, and then he went on and did Mallrats and Chasing It. But Clerks 2 and now Clerks 3 are, yeah, and this isn't your typical Kevin Smith film. If you're going into this thinking it's just going to be non-stop comedy, it's not. This film has real heart to it. Brian O'Halloran probably gives the performance of his life as Dante in this movie. And it's it will choke you up if you're a fan of these characters and you've grown up knowing these characters. So for me, this had to be on there. Like I say, it's possibly not the best movie of the year. Well, it's not, according to me. It's number 10. But it is. If you're a fan of Kevin Smith, you need to see this movie. Okay, guys. Number 9 on my list is the only MCU movie on my top 10. If we had gone back a year or two ago, I would have probably had 2 or 3 MCU movies in my top 10. But this year, the movies just didn't quite hit for me. Except for this one. At number 9 is Wakanda Forever. I thought this movie was really well done, really tasteful in giving remembrance to Chadwick Boseman. Angela Bassett did a phenomenal job. If anyone in a superhero movie deserves to be nominated for an Oscar, it's her. The way she portrayed her feelings at the death of her son, her family being torn apart, it's done phenomenally well. Letitia Wright does a fantastic job taking that mantle. I've liked her since the first Black Panther movie, and I was hoping that they would give it to her because obviously there was tons of rumours about where they were going to go with it. Ryan Coogler just knows how to direct this character. The first Black Panther's excellent. This movie's really good as well. I thought is it Tenok Huerta? Sorry if I might have completely butchered that, but the guy who plays Namor does a fantastic job. And he might be the most intriguing villain since Loki. And I know technically Loki kind of, is he a villain, is he not? And this kind of, you kind of had that same dynamic with Namor. But excellent. I can't remember the actress's name. I'll put it down the bottom if when I find out. The young actress who played Riri Williams, Ironheart, fantastic job. Really fantastic job. At points, I felt she was being squeezed into the movie, but she was essential to the plot. She, without giving any spoilers away, she creates the main device that motivates the plot of the movie. But I felt she felt a little bit squeezed in as Ironheart. Maybe she didn't need to show that part of her just yet. They could have just introduced the character of Riri Williams and then gone more into her Ironheart persona in the upcoming TV show. But overall, the movie was just really well done, and another one that would put a lump in your throat. And if we're talking lumps in your throat, my number 8 is a film by Dean Fleischer Camp, and it's Marcel, the Shell with Shoes On. This movie is probably the sweetest, the most heartwarming movie of the year. It's fantastic. It's really fun to watch, and it is exactly what it says. It's a shell with shoes on. Marcel. It's really well done. It's based off a small internet clip that Dean Fleischer Camp did a few years ago, and it got millions of views. And they decided to make it into a full-length film. I think it's his ex-wife, Jenny Slate, does the voice of Marcel. And Marcel is just so cute, so sweet, so full of the joys of life. But it's him trying to find his family. He lost his family. He lost his Shell family. It's just him and his nan now living in this house where Dean Fleischer Camp actually comes to stay. And the whole movie's done like a documentary. It's done like Dean filming Marcel, asking him questions. And it's just so much fun. If you get a chance to just sit down, hour and a half, that's all it is, watch this movie. It's really worth it. It came out of nowhere for me. I only watched it in the last week or so. A lot of the American YouTubers I watch and people I watch on TikTok started talking about it. And I thought I had to watch it. And I'm glad I did. Really good movie. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Number 7 is actually a streaming movie. A movie on one of the streaming sites. And I've said to you guys before, I'm a massive sports movie fan. And this one really hit home for me. I've also told you guys before, I play basketball. I have my whole life. And this is Hustle on Netflix. It's an Adam Sandler movie. Jeremiah Zager, I think, was the director. And it's probably, no, it is the best basketball movie they've released in years. Possibly since the 90s. 90s for me gave the best basketball movies in Above the Rim, White Men Can't Jump, stuff like that. Obviously, then you go in more into your Coach Carters and stuff. But this movie is just excellent. And it embraces the whole world of basketball. You have NBA players in this one. Herman Gomez, who plays the main character, Bo Cruz, does a phenomenal job. He's got a job in acting once he's finished basketball. He did a really good job in this. Adam Sandler, again, after movies like Uncut Gems, proves he can act. My wife hates Adam Sandler, but she really enjoyed this movie as well. And it's got tons of NBA players in it. It's got tons of street ball legends in it. NBA legends are in this. And it's just a really good movie. It follows all the traditional sports movie tropes, but it's just done in such a really good way. It's on Netflix. It's free if you've got Netflix. Well, it's the price of your subscription if you've got Netflix. Please check it out if you're into your sports movies. Really good movie, really worth watching. Number 6 on my list is The Banshees of Inisherin. This is Martin McDonagh film. He did In Bruges and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I love In Bruges. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri was excellent. And this is his new film. And it's Brandon Gleeson and Colin Farrell again, back from the partnering up after In Bruges. And it's based in, I think it's 1929 in Ireland. And it tells the story of 2 friends. And one day just one of them decides he doesn't want to be friends anymore. He doesn't want to have anything to do with him. He feels his friend is holding him back. It's a dark comedy. It turns quite brutal in places, but it's just Martin McDonagh just writes great screenplays. I'm sorry, I'm assuming he wrote a screenplay, but he just knows how to write a screenplay, and this film just is brilliant. Barry Keogh, I think that's his name. He was in the Eternals, and he was in the Eternals. He was the guy who could stop time. I think he does an excellent job in this movie. If this got an Oscar nod for supporting actor, he would be up there. He does a brilliant job in this as the young troubled youth of this really small Irish town. It's like, 10, 15, 20 people in a small Irish town. That's where the film's based. So yeah, if you've this again in the UK, if you have Disney Plus, this is available on Disney Plus. Banshees of Inisherin, definitely worth watching. Like I say, it's a dark comedy. If you're not a fan of In Bruges and Three Billboards, then probably give this a miss. But for me, a really, really good movie. Number 5 is probably a movie that most people have as their number 1 or 2. I really enjoyed it, but for me, like I've said the whole way through, I like the big blockbuster movies. That's what I like. That's me. This film, I don't think it may have got a cinematic release in the UK. If it did, I completely missed it. It wasn't until people started talking about it that it came onto my radar. And it's Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, by Dan Kwan and Dan Schmidt. It's a multiverse movie. It literally hits you with everything. This movie is excellent. Michelle Yeoh steals the show in this one for me, but it also has Ki Hai Kwan, who was Data in the Goonies. He does a fantastic job in this movie, and Stephanie Hugh plays the daughter of Michelle Yeoh. This is a mind-bending multiverse movie. It's great fun from start to finish. Jamie Lee Curtis has a brilliant cameo in this movie. And yeah, it's just an excellent movie. If you get a chance to see it, please do. Like I say, it's one of those ones where I don't think it's available. No, I think it might be available on Prime in the UK. Now, it wasn't available for a long time. I was waiting for a digital release, a physical release, and we just didn't seem to get one in the UK. And then I'm pretty sure it's now on Prime. I actually bought a digital copy of it because I wanted to see it that much because of all the great reviews it was getting. And the acting's brilliant, the directing's spot on. The reason it's probably not higher is because of my connection to the 4 movies ahead of it. That probably gives away a little bit that they're more sort of your franchise movies. But yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once is probably the new franchise, shall we say, of the year for me. It's the top film that's not from a franchise on my list. So definitely worth checking out. Number 4 on my list is another movie that came to a streaming in the UK, Disney Plus for this one, and it's Prey, the new Predator movie. This is the best Predator sequel since the original. The original is still my favourite Predator movie, but this is the best sequel. You take the Predator, you drop him into the United States, but during the time of the Native Americans, and it's just brilliant. I would love to see a series of Predator movies carrying on like this. How good would it be to see the Predator versus English and German soldiers in World War II, or in feudal Japan facing a samurai? This is the way I think they should go forward with the Predator franchise now, having time jumping between different points in history, fighting different civilizations. I think that would just be really, really interesting and good to see. And they do a brilliant job in this. Amber Mindhunter, the young actress who plays the Prey in this movie, is awesome. And it just captures the essence of that original movie, Predator versus Prey. Really well done. Again, Disney Plus in the UK, really worth watching. So that's Prey. Number 3 on my list is Avatar: The Way of Water. This film looks stunning. If I was doing this list on visual effects alone, this movie would be number 1. This is better than the original in my opinion. It's excellent. James Cameron just knows how to build a world, and that's what this movie is. It's world building. It's 3 hours long, but it didn't feel like 3 hours for me. That 3 hours let you get engrossed again in the planet of Pandora, and it let you get a connection with all these new characters that they brought in for this movie. The water setting works. It's fantastic. Like I say, the visuals on this, even compared to the original, are just a jump up. They are stunning. The story in its essence is very basic, but it works. The story flows nicely. You get to, like I say, you get to learn the new characters, and then the action is really well done as well. It surprised me. I wasn't expecting it to be that good, and I think that's why it's jumped up. And I think one of the reasons it's quite high is because it's fresh, it's new. I saw this on Christmas Eve, and I've got to say I really enjoyed it. It's probably the one movie on this list that I've only seen once, with the exception of maybe Marcel, the Show with Shoes on. Marcel I've only seen once, but this is the only film on this list that I've only seen once, and it just stuck with me. So if you're apprehensive about seeing it, please go and see it. It's worth it. Number 2 on my list is another comic book movie, my comic book movie of the year, and it is The Batman. This was probably the movie I was most worried about coming into the year. I wasn't all anti Robert Pattinson like a lot of people, I think, were just judging him off Twilight. I'd seen other movies like The Lost City of Z and stuff that he's in, and this guy can act, but I was still a bit apprehensive, especially The Dark Knight trilogy is my favourite interpretation of Batman. I love those movies. So even though Ben Affleck, I think, did a solid job, they never really hit the heights with Ben Affleck as Batman for me. And I was a bit sceptical about them changing the actor again. And then they came into the Batman, and this movie was excellent, really good. The definitive detective Batman we've had on screen. The cast was really well put together. Colin Farrell again did a fantastic job as the Penguin. Paul Dano was brilliant as the Riddler. Andy Serkis was excellent as Alfred. The whole movie just worked. Didn't quite pip the Dark Knight trilogy for me. Still think that for me is the definitive. And for me, this is going to sound weird. Dark Knight is my favourite Batman. I think I said that, but my favourite Batman is Michael Keaton. I just think he got the mix of Batman and Bruce Wayne perfect. And I love the first two, Batman and Batman Returns, and I love the Dark Knight trilogy. And this is in the mix with those movies. It is really, really good. And like I said, probably the best detective Batman. No, it's the best detective Batman we've had on screen. Zoe Kravitz is excellent as Catwoman. They just seem to get the casting perfect in this movie. And I'm looking forward to seeing if, with this new DC being run by James Gunn, I'm hoping they give Matt Reeves a chance to carry on where he was going with this. So that's the Batman, number 2. Number 1 on my list. If you know me, this will come as no shock to you. I've been talking about this movie all year. And my number 1 movie of 2022 is Top Gun Maverick. A huge fan of Top Gun in the 80s. Was looking forward to this from the moment it was announced. Joseph Kosinski does a fantastic job. Is it Star Wars? Possibly. Does it matter? No. Is it still a great movie? Yes. It's just so much fun. It's so rewatchable. It's quotable. If my wife moans about anything, I'm like, just do. Don't think, just do. That's what I say to her now. Tom Cruise, brilliant. Jennifer Connelly, excellent. Physical effects are tremendous. The way they bring Val Kilmer into the movie, excellent. John Hamm is great as the unlikable base captain. Glenn Powell does a great job as Hangman, the kind of cocky. He's kind of the Iceman of this movie. And Miles Teller does a fantastic job as Rooster. All round, just a really fun popcorn movie. I've probably seen it already 10 times. That is how much I can sit and rewatch this movie. This is how you do a legacy movie. This is how you carry on a story for me. And for me, it is the best film of the year. The one that I will go back to the most out of all of these movies that I've spoke about today. So Top Gun, Maverick, my movie of 2022. Like I said at the start of the video, this is my list. It's not going to be the same as your list. Your list is going to be completely different. If you think I've missed anything that I haven't spoken about, please drop it down below. Could be I've seen it and I just didn't rate it, or it could be that I've missed it completely. But if you've got a take on anything I've said, please let me know below. But let's try and keep it respectful. We all have different opinions. That's what makes movies interesting. If we didn't, all movies would be the same. But that's it. So I hope everyone has a fantastic 2023. I'll be trying to do my top 10 figures of the year, action figures of the year this week as well, and try and get that out for you quite quickly. I took a couple of weeks off over Christmas, but now I'm back and I want to try and get some more content out to you quickly. I've got some haul videos to do. I got a nice set of figures for Christmas. Also, I got quite a few figures come through in December, and I've got some movies as well. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Hit the little bell below. That'll tell you when I upload a new video. And I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.